Welcome to the You Heard podcast with your hosts, Ben, Joe, and CP. We're here to cover everything related to Miami Hurricanes football, from hot topics to pre- and post-game analysis.
All right, we'll talk about it at the end. We'll talk about it.
No, let's talk about that right now because you completely flipped it on me now.
I hate him for knowing this, bro. This man knew the brand, dog.
Okay, I don't appreciate that. I'm saying, like, I don't appreciate.
What did you say? What are we talking about, son?
Get into our topic.
I feel keeping it a buck.
You heard?
Oh, I'm just talking. I was just talking.
Yeah, man, I couldn't hear you at all. I was like,
Thank you, fellas.
I couldn't hear it all. I'm like, so I'm pointing at my headphone while I was backstage. I'm like, no.
Good. So y'all didn't hear me bashing the other three members of my team. I was talking big shit about those guys, man.
No, I didn't hear anything at all, man, at all.
Yeah, good. They just think they can call out whenever they want to. You know what it is, man. How you doing, Will?
Good, man. I've been actually fighting this very horrific chest cold for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's been tough on me, man. And my wife, the same thing. My wife has been battling something as well. So I'm very happy to be on. But I've still stayed busy, but I've had a lot of times where I've had to like mute myself when I'm on with somebody so they don't hear me like hacking and stuff like that. What's up, guys? How's everybody doing out there?
Everybody in the chat, man. Love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Faith Family Football in the building. P-Lo, we might go undefeated this year. Don't sip that Kool-Aid, man. Don't sip that Kool-Aid, brother. Don't do it to yourself. Wes, what's going on, brother? Jay Singh, always in the chat. What's going on, man? Brian in the chat. How you doing, brother? Hey, thank you. We got it. That's my fault. I got a little too excited, man. So listen, camp starts this week. You see the smile on my face? I don't be smiling like this, man. Camp starts Wednesday. First day of camp, man. Willie, man, what are you looking forward to, man? What camp starts Wednesday? What are you looking forward to? Like, what are your biggest things that you're looking forward to in camp?
Well, I mean, I really want to see the young guys that were able to participate in spring camp be able to participate now, like guys like Chance Robinson, like Jordan Lyons as well. So those are the guys I'm looking forward to seeing. So I want to see the young guys. Justin Scott's another one. So I want to see the guys that weren't able to participate in spring ball. I want to see how they do in summer, seeing they have to like catch up, to the schematics and the scheme of both offense and defense. So that's what I'm most looking forward to as well. I also want to continue to see the cohesion that I've heard, from everybody that's been covering the team, more closely with Cam Ward and the wide receivers and how the running backs also fill into the opportunity. And I also want to finally find out, I'm sure you do too, who is going to win that left guard battle. Is it going to be McCoy or is it going to be the Pancake Honcho? So that's another thing I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, man. If you've ever played football, man, this time is so exciting because all the culmination of all the hard work you've done since really the season's over. Mm-hmm. There's no relaxation in football, especially
Yep.
college football. So all the work you've been doing since January up until now, this is the time now. Like this is season mode now. And everybody, man, from the players, from the tutors, from the recruiting staff, from the equipment staff, the strength and conditioning staff, the cleaning staff in the building has been working hard as hell, and now it's time to get the season started. And this is when I get excited. Like all the stuff before then, I'm like, all right, recruiting, we talking about who's doing what. This is when it really starts to get to me, man. Because I think we got 4 more Saturdays.
Yeah.
Until
Florida. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 4 more Saturdays, man. So yeah, you mentioned the recruiting battles. So the recruiting battles that we're looking for. Chat, tell me, man, what recruiting battles are you guys not recruiting battles, position battles are you guys looking forward to this summer, this fall camp? We have the receiver battle. Wes mentioned Sam Brown and Isaiah Horton battle. We have the left guard battle, as Will mentioned. I think we still have a battle on that D line. I definitely don't think that D line battle. I think Ruben Bain is obviously cemented, but what about on the other side, the kind of rush in, the jack in? You have Elijah Alston that was brought in from Marshall. You have Tyler Barron, who transferred in. So that's a battle at the D tackle spot. I think you have a battle as well. I think you have 3 or 4 guys who can start there. Safety battle, right, Rod? The safety battle, Pilo? Absolutely. Will, what you think about those battles, and who do you see cementing themselves? Let's start with safety. Who do you see as the strong and the free back
I think,
and the nickel?
Yeah, I think Mish has got that one wrapped up, to be honest with you. I think Mish Powell is going to take that position. But here's something about Robert Stafford, possibly a safety as well.
Okay.
Yeah, as well. But hear about something about Robert Stafford. I'm not really sure. Markeith Williams is another one too that I've heard great things from. Brian Smith over at Locked On Canes has talked a lot about him as well. So I think it's going to be like those. So Mish, from what I understand, Mish is going to be your safety. But I'm not. But I'm the other side is what I'm wondering about. At the nickel, man, it's a tough one. Yeah. That's the one side I was worried about. I told Coach Rump that I'm fine with the lockdown guys on the sides. I think Damari's going to have a very good year, and we all know Daryl Porter is a stud. But I was worried about the slot guys, and he told me don't sleep on Ryan Mack or OJ Federic. Don't be surprised if those guys get some playing time this year. Yeah, don't be surprised if those guys get some playing time this year as well. So I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to see where that happens. On the interior side, okay, you got Simeon Barrow. I think he's got that wrapped up. Want to see what they do with Mesidor. I think they're still going to use him as a hybrid, both defensive end and also in the interior as well. Time for Ahmad Moten to step up. I want to see that big young man pretty much clog it up, for the team. And on the other side as well, Ruben Bates got that side taken care of. I think it's going to be the kid out of Marshall. I think he's going to take the starting position, but there'll be some rotation with Tyler Barron as well, and some of the young guys like Malik Bryant, who's been getting some snaps at the end. I think you'll see some battle in there as well.
That's one to watch right there.
That is, So we know that Coach Guidry likes to rotate his players. So we're gonna see a lot of rotation at the defensive line position and also on that other side. And I do see Ruben Bain taking up the bulk of the snaps on his side of the ball like he did last year.
Yeah, D line more than any other position on the field, you're gonna get a heavy rotation because you got to keep the pass rushes fresh.
Yep.
You got to keep that D-line, that interior D-line fresh against physical O-line play. So you're going to get rotation. So starters, there are going to be people that start the game, but we got to look at snaps. Who gets the most snaps? That's the important part. I want to go back to the DB room. So you mentioned Mish Powell. I think Mish Powell will start at strong safety. I really think Jaden Harris is going to be the high safety, man. I think he's going to take over for the Cam Kitchens.
Yes, I forgot about him. You're right.
Role, and I think he'll roam that center field.
Yeah, I think you're right. Forgot about him.
The nickel, is different. I've been a proponent of moving Damari Brown to that nickel spot, man. I just like, the way they used Jaden Davis. Was it Jaden Davis last year
Yeah.
to start the season? The way they had him just at the line of scrimmage, he was blitzing.
Yeah.
He was covering slots. I think Damari Brown could be that kind of jack of all trades. And then you can have Jadaeus Richards at one corner. Maybe Robert Stafford steps up and can play an outside corner role. Maybe De'Ani Hill can play an outside corner.
Yeah.
Or he can play a slot, maybe. I don't know, but maybe he could play an outside corner, man. So that's going to be interesting. Coach Guidry does have a lot of toys to play with, man.
He does.
Has a lot of toys, man. See what we're talking about. Kickoff and punt return. That's an interesting question, man. Willie, what you got at kickoff and punt return?
I think at kickoff, you might want to put Ray Joseph at kickoff. I think he could fill in the same slot that you had last year with Rashard Smith, and I think you could do the same with him, right, as well. So, or you could put the Hellcat, as well, returning punts as well. That's another one. Not the Hellcat, the other fast one, Chris Johnson. Yeah, Chris Johnson. You could put him at punt returns as well. So I kind of like the combination of having Ray Joseph, do what Rashard Smith did last year and kickoff returns, and then you could have the Chris Johnson return punts. If you can't, because it's a heavy running back room this season, so you have to utilize that speed somehow, and I think Chris could do it, especially since it might be the case that Mark Fletcher may even play Week 1 against Florida. So
yeah, I wouldn't be mad at Chris Johnson at kickoff return. My punt return, I kind of have to be more comfortable in his ability to catch the ball and field the punts. So I think I like a receiver at punt return more if I could, a Ray or even a Jacoby. Even though Jacoby had a couple of issues last year, I think he would be good at punt return, even though he had those couple of issues. The Brashard leaving is kind of like, to me, that was big for me because Rashard Smith, man, especially this year, would have been crazy in the offense. The way, all the things he could do. See what we got in here now. Pilo says we have so much talented depth players now. They have to be on their P's and Q's. With that being said, competition will make us great. Absolutely. Competition is what every team needs. Every team. The depth is what drives competition and what drives improvement. You have to look over your shoulder every time now. Yeah. You can't just think your spot is safe. Speaking of depth, what position group, do you think kind of lacks the necessary depth to take it to the next level right now?
This year, it's the defensive backfield. Next year, it won't be because we've done very well in recruiting, but I still think this year is a defensive backfield. I wouldn't be surprised if you do see some of the young guys play, I won't say early, but play sometime this season. Like, again, Ryan Mack has been doing very well at workouts. The same thing with OJ Frederick. So you might see those individuals get some run as well. So that's the one position that I do think that we do lack in depth. I think we're solid everywhere else. I think we have good depth at the linebacking core as well. At defensive tackle, we're okay. We're okay at defensive tackle. You got some young guys, but I think those young guys could pick things up quickly and make an impact right away. And of course, at the end position, we're stacked. Let's be sincere. But at the one position that I think that we're really, I would say, is a flaw in terms of depth, it would be the defensive backfield for this season. Next year and possibly the following, not so much. Mario's done a great job with, of course, Coach Chevis Jackson at recruiting and making sure that we bring the necessary talent to not have that problem in the future.
Absolutely. I think.
By the way, prayers up to Amari Wallace. He had a really bad injury.
Yeah, man. Prayers to Amari Wallace, man. And hope he has a speedy recovery.
Yeah, compound fractures are not fun.
Yeah, man. And he misses his senior year. That's hard. That's very hard, man. But he's a young man, young guy in good shape. Yep. Hopefully his spirits are up, man. we are praying for you on this show, Amari. I think personally, and I've been vocal about this, I think the quarterback room worries me more than any other room. I think the DB room will be fine. I think the young guys, if needed in a pinch, I think the young guys can do all right simply because of the front seven. The front seven will help the back end out a lot. So I think guys like Zaquan Patterson, I think Ryan Mack. You mentioned Ryan Mack is a technician back there, So I think he'll be cool. But the quarterback room, of course, Cam Ward, the head of that room. Behind him, we know what we have in Emory Williams. I think, I don't think there's any surprises there. And when he was a true freshman last year, and he did what he was supposed to do last year. He beat Clemson. He was instrumental in that. When he made some big throws down the stretch, he wasn't really asked to do much, but what he was asked to do, he did it. Florida State, it was a tough environment. He went in there and kept us close.
He did.
So I think Emory Williams is a gamer. I think he's a tough dude. But if Cam Ward went down for the season, I would be worried with that room. What do you think of that room?
Yeah, I understand, and I'm the same way. I think Reese Poffenbarger, from what I've been hearing, is going to be your QB2 for this season behind Cam Ward. I was worried from what I saw in the spring game. But I was told, don't worry about what you saw in the spring game. He could sling it. So apparently he does very well in practice. He did very well in practice. Spring game was just an anomaly, but he does very well in practice, and he has a good connection with his receivers as well. I like Emory. I think for Emory, he was put in very tough situations last season. Clemson, very good defense, top 10 defense, and so on. He won us that football game doing what he needed to do. He made the right throws at the right time as well. And big bad FSU over there in Doe Campbell almost lost to a true freshman quarterback if he doesn't break his arm. So I think Emory would have led a game-winning drive in that situation if he doesn't hurt himself. So I'm okay. I'm okay with the quarterback room as it is right now. I do think though that it will be a major drop off though, if Cam does happen to go down, because the difference between Reese and Cam is day and night. Let's be honest. Cam is QB1. The moment he stepped on Green Tree, he was QB1. And even Coach Joe Salavea told me after the spring game, he said that guy makes the D-line work. He really does make everybody work. He can sling it anywhere across the field. So he is that team. But from what I heard, Reese is pretty good as well, and he does have toys to play with on offense. Like the tight end room is really solid this year. The running back room is really solid this year. The wide receiver room is really solid this year. He has a very good offensive line, better than what he had over in the FCS. So we'll see. So I'm not that worried about the quarterback room, but however, I am predicting 10 wins. But if Cam goes down, that prediction might change just a slight bit. Just a slight bit.
I think it absolutely will change.
Yeah, but I don't think it'll be a horrific disaster either. I just think the teams that were the Louisvilles, the Florida States, and even the Californias and the Virginia Techs will be a little tougher to beat it without Cam Ward. But I do think they are beatable.
Yeah. Star. If we still had JB, would you still feel the same? I would feel a little bit better. Listen, JB and Reese are kind of similar to me in the fact that practice can't really tell the whole story with those two, because those two do things that you won't see in practice. Quarterbacks can't get touched in practice at all. They are off limits. So a quarterback who runs and creates with his legs and creates plays on the move and improvises doesn't really show up in practice. So I think with someone like Reese this year, if he is forced to play, I think he would do a little bit better, because his style is just, he's a game, like he's an athlete. He can improvise.
Yep.
And that's hard to show in a controlled practice. The game is the game. Like it's different. is different. So, I think I would feel a little, and that's the thing with Emery for me, right? When things break down, can he make plays when things break down? I know he can stand in the pocket and make the right throw, but at FSU, you saw FSU in the second half, they started to blitz the kitchen sink. They started to throw the kitchen sink at him, and it was a little difficult. Obviously he was a freshman again, but if you have legs and can move, you kind of can, do a little bit more with that. So let me see, Star. You didn't think he was better in that Rutgers game, especially if JB was definitely better in the Rutgers game because again, he just can make plays with his legs. He can make plays with his legs. He could make some throws. He's been, inconsistent with the throwing, with the passes, but he definitely looked better in the Rutgers game. Will, you got anything to say on that?
Yeah, I was telling Dono his best throw was the one that was called back. There was a touchdown pass to Xavier Restrepo. Xavier Restrepo was in. It was a tough, for the referees to see that, because it was a bang bang type of deal, and they just went with, I guess the irrefutable evidence. It wasn't inconclusive, but that was his best throw. He made some really good throws. He made a really solid throw to Jacoby George to start the game, and Jacoby just botched that throw, and it didn't help with the unsportsmanlike conduct either. It didn't help him either that Mark Fletcher went down. A couple of your best offensive linemen declared for the NFL draft as well, and as well. So those are things that were against Ja'Cory Brown. But I thought he was solid in the Rutgers game, in the bowl game. He didn't lose us the game as well. Yeah, he didn't lose us the game. So I would have been okay. I was sad to see him go. But I mean, that's the way college football is right now. But he did give the university a chance. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
We definitely understand. You got to go somewhere where you're going to play.
Exactly.
He wasn't going to play this year either. So, and then next year we wouldn't have known. So, Jay Singh says, I really hope this year we go into a season doubting our abilities and season expectation. Maybe not doubting our abilities and season expectation. It's time for us to go into a season expecting to win and do so convincingly. Absolutely, Jay. The team has to have that confidence, and that comes from the top to the bottom. And I'm sure at the top, the head coach Cristobal, I'm sure he has all the confidence in the world with what he's putting out on the field this year.
Well, for what I've heard, they're bought in. So that's the one thing about like what the team itself, it's bought in. Like anybody that was kind of dropping, bad vibes or being a little a little bit difficult, they're gone. Mm-hmm. So the team as of right now is bought in. This is the year where you need to take that step, and there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to take that step. It's your third season. You recruited your guys. Your recruits are in. Your transfer portal guys are nice plug and play guys that you wanted, that you selected yourself because they fit your schematic schemes on offense and defense. So this is a year that's 10 wins, ACC title or bust.
Yep. Real quick, man, you guys see the scan for merch. Go to youheardpod.com, man. Scan that for merch and see what we got cooking up, man. We're about to cook up some more stuff for the start of the season. So go cop it. All right, man. Juan, what's up, brother? He asks, so I keep hearing 10 wins, but who are the losses to and why? That's a good question, man. Willie, who do you think the losses are to this year?
My trap game, you're gonna laugh, is Cal.
That's not a laugher. That's a good trap.
That's my trap game. And the reason, the travel going over there, and Miami's at times they've had hiccups when they've gone to the West Coast in the past, even with good teams. So that's my trap game. So if it's a loss this year, that would be the team. That would say it would be a loss. And the Louisville game, I'm between like the Louisville game, which we're going to talk about today, and also the Virginia Tech game. Virginia Tech always gives us fits. They've always given us fits. And so that's could be a night game. That could be the game that you slip and you get your second loss. So that's and then Louisville. Louisville's a very well coached team. And we'll get into Louisville a little bit later. But those would be where my two losses would be. Cal, and then it would be between either Louisville or Vatech. And so, but I do have us beating Florida State this year, and I'm sorry, I can't give the Gators the W. I just can't, and I won't, and no.
Yeah, we broke down Cal last week, I believe, and or a couple weeks ago, and me digging into Cal, I was a little bit surprised. Like, Cal is not a bad team, man, and they did fairly well in the transfer portal. They have an incredible running back in Mr. Ott. Their quarterback is not too bad, and they have a head coach like Coach Cristobal, who's an O-line coach. And I mentioned before, what you get in O-line coaches, head coaches, is improved offensive line play. And we know that's what keeps you in games, and that helps you win games when your trenches are right. I don't know if their trenches are going to be able to withstand a full game of just getting beat on, So I think they'll stay in the game early, but I do think eventually we'll pull away. But that is a trap game out there, definitely. It's a long trip, so yeah, definitely different time zone and everything. So yeah. So I can see that. I can also see. I don't know. I don't. I really don't see another. I really don't see another loss, man. I guess you could say Florida State because that's just a rivalry game. That's just how things go. You know what I mean? We're at home, so that helps, but it's a rivalry game. We don't know what's going to happen. And as much as Florida State, we don't like Florida State or whatever, Mike Norvell can coach offense. I don't care what anybody says, man. He can coach his ass off on that offensive side. Yeah. Just like Coach Braum at Louisville can coach offense. You know what I mean? So, and their defense is always solid. But Coach Norvell can coach offense, man. So I don't think DJU is gonna look like we probably think he's going to look. He's not gonna be Jordan Travis. Absolutely not. He's not gonna get him out of situations where they're in trouble and he can escape like that. But I think Norvell is gonna have him running the ball more and using his big body to beat up on defenses.
Yeah, I agree. So, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, I can see Florida State and the three. I can see Florida State, Louisville, Cal. One of those, I can see one of those losing. And listen, Florida is not a gimme game either, man. Like, it's the first game of the season. Everybody's healthy on both sides, and we're in the swamp. Like, that's not a gimme game, man. That's not a gimme game. It's not the Florida that we saw at the last year with all the injuries, and it's not that team, man. So
yeah, but I'm not a big fan of the play calling on offense that Coach Napier likes to run. Yeah, from Florida. Yeah, they're a little too conservative at times. Their offensive line is not the strongest even this season, from what I've heard from people who cover them. They're not that strong this year, and neither is their defensive line. So I'm expecting Martinez to have a very good game against the Gators. And then who else are you going to cover? I mean, you have Jacoby George, and you have possibly either Sam Brown or Say Horn on one side. Of course, you can't ignore Restrepo, how efficient he is, and now Riley Williams as a tight end, Elijah Arroyo as a tight end. Elijah Lofted is like a Swiss Army knife. He's going to get some playing time, and he's been killing veterans in practice as well. So I'm just saying it's going to be very difficult for Florida to cover all those guys, and Cam himself could extend plays with his legs. So he's a nightmare, to cover as well. So that's why I think the Canes have over the Gators. I think the play calling is going to be 60-40. I think that we're going to see a lot more passing this season than running, depending on how the game goes, of course. But I do think because of all the talents you have at the receiver position, I'm including tight ends in that as well, you're going to see Miami sling the ball more this season than maybe in years past where you had more of a 50 or try to get a more of a 50-50 balance. That's just the way I see it. And again, it's the swamp. It's a hostile atmosphere. But a lot of these guys, they've played in tough games already. They've played Florida State. They've played Texas A&M. Cam Ward as well has experience, as well, playing some tough teams in the Pac-12. So listen, it's the swamp. It's the swamp. It's a tough environment, but there is some experience in playing in tough environments and playing in tough teams as well. That's just where I'm at. This game also is more important for Florida, I would say, than Miami. Miami could lose this game to start the season, and if they go on a run, it could be forgotten. Whereas the Gators, if they lose this game, they end up the whole season is like murderer's row, for them. So for morale purposes, the Gators really need to win this game more so than the Canes. But I do think the Canes want to beat up the Gators. So that's just where I'm at as far as that game goes.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I get it. I understand what you're saying. I mentioned it before. If this game was any other week, I'll feel better. But it's the first game. So both teams, Florida has been preparing for Miami for 8 months, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Miami, our staff and everybody can say we don't look forward. We go day by day. And sure, we do go day by day. But we've been preparing for Florida as well. So what I do feel confident about is that the trenches travel. When you have trenches, you can go into really any environment and be okay. So I think with the trenches we have on both sides of the ball, I think we're going to be okay. But Florida's an SEC team. They have trenches as well, man. So I don't know. We'll see. I think we're gonna win. Don't get it twisted, but
no, I understand.
Think it's gonna be a little bit more hectic than people think. I'm hearing like Miami gonna win by 21 3 times.
Yeah, no. I think it's gonna be a close game.
I don't know. And you have a quarterback on the other side, Mr. Mertz. He's not a game changer, but he's very solid. He doesn't turn the ball over. He doesn't attack deep, but he doesn't turn the ball over too much. So we'll see. Have some comments, man. Canes fan. I always hear this line of questioning from Canes fans about Mario controlling the offense. Is there an actual basis to that? Zeke, I don't think we know for sure, but people are kind of using logic and common sense, right? So at Texas A&M, the offense looked a certain way, right? After that, it didn't. The offense changed up quite dramatically. Georgia Tech, NC State. Who else? Florida State. I mean, obviously. But then you come back at Louisville and the offense looks like Texas A&M again. So, just going off of Coach Cristobal's offensive history, we could assume that he had a hand in the various changes. What you think, Will?
Well, I have asked that question. I'm friends with one of the parents of one of the players. I don't want to out the individual. And I did ask that question, and he told me, the parent was the dad, told me that he hasn't heard anything coming from that end. And he's very blunt, very direct, this individual. And he said he hasn't heard it's been from the internet where he's heard about that, but not exactly from the players themselves where he's heard about that. The whole thing started about Mario controlling the offense. That came from Oregon when he was over there, and that information has traveled over here. The A&M game, Tyler Van Dyke is very good at beating up on man coverage and blitzes. That's the one thing he's very good at, and that's the style of defense that Texas A&M ran on Tyler Van Dyke. The moment TVD got stuck with zone defenses, like you saw against Georgia Tech, you saw against NC State, and even North Carolina, that is when things changed for the most part for Tyler Van Dyke. That's when the offense looked a little bit more of what Mario likes: the jumbo sets, the grounding, the pounding, and so on. So that's kind of like what ended up happening. But for some reason, Joey, it looked again, and against Louisville, they started
wide open,
light it up again with a more air raidish style. Don't know why. Maybe I think Louisville played more man coverage, blitz more, and the same thing with Boston College. They continuously played man against our receivers, and TVD ate them up. So that, and of course, they softened the playbook for Emory, because Emory, was a true freshman. So that was Cristobal and Shannon Dawson working together. So that's where I'm at. I don't know. I'm not in the locker room. They're very close to the chest over there at the university. They don't like revealing anything as far as information goes about the playbook, about who's calling what, and so on. I could understand why the fans would say that. And Mario's been very open about the philosophy of balance that he likes, and he likes beating teams up in the trenches. Shannon Dawson comes from more of a fast, happy offense under Darren Holgerson. So I get that. So as of right now, I'm gonna say I don't know, because I really don't know. But I can see why the fans think that, because you go from ripping him apart, scoring 55 points against Texas A&M, to barely getting 30 per se against a team like Georgia Tech, or not even getting 30 against a team like Georgia Tech that you were expected to blow out. But I think it's because defenses started playing TVD better, and TVD got exposed.
Absolutely. Yeah, I get it. Let's hear from Canesware real quick. And on the other side of this, we're going to start to talk about Louisville and a little bit about the barbecue. We had a BBQ.
Yes.
See what's up.
Welcome to Canesware.
New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Canesware has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at canesware.com. Canesware, the spot Miami fans shop.
Salute to my guys at Canesware, man. They always look out. Every time I go down there, they welcome me with open arms, welcome my family, man. They welcome all Miami fans in there. And go to canesware.com, do your shopping, man. Sure they're about to load up for the season. Do your shopping. All right, Louisville. In Louisville. They're not at home.
No.
We lost to Louisville last year. What was the score, man? 38-31, something like that.
Shootout. Yeah, it was a shootout.
Right? Yeah,
it was a bit of a shootout.
Yeah, that's the only offense to me that gave Coach Guidry fits.
Mm-hmm.
North Carolina did, but that was because they ran tempo and we were very depleted.
Mm-hmm.
In the first half, Coach Guidry had that offense looking flustered.
Yeah.
We just, we did some silly stuff and gave up some big plays, but Louisville really, had Coach Guidry flustered, man. So Louisville, they got a new quarterback. They got a transfer quarterback, I think, from Texas Tech.
Yes, sir.
Maybe? Yeah, he's a better, in my opinion, a much better passer than Jake Plummer.
Yeah.
Jake Plummer, Jake Snake Plummer.
Jack.
Jack Plummer, right? Yeah. Much better passer than him. They got some transfer receivers. I think they got a couple receivers from Alabama.
Yeah.
They got Ja'Cory Brooks,
mm-hmm.
right? And another receiver, Colin Lacey, something like that, right? So, people think because they went to Alabama, they're just going to be, 5-star running all over the field. But, everybody in Miami knows Ja'Cory Brooks because he's a Miami kid.
Mm-hmm.
He's talented. He is talented. But he couldn't get it going at Alabama. They have a couple of Miami transfers.
Yes, they do.
Right? My guy at running back, Mr. Cheney,
I know.
is a Cardinal now.
I know.
And Skinner Skinner is a Cardinal now. So Coach Braum has some toys to play with over there. Now their O-line is very questionable. I don't know how he's gonna piece that together. But their O-line is questionable, man. But what do you think about the Louisville offense against this Miami defense?
I'll be very frank with you. Braum is a brilliant offensive play caller.
Brilliant.
So I think that the offensive line being an issue as far as talent goes, I do think that he's going to be able to cover that up. And the reason why I say that is one of the reasons why that Miami struggled last year against Louisville was because they beat us at our own game. Coach Guidry likes to run a scheme where everything is, if you blitz and you bring a guy in, everything is covered. So for example, if you blitz in your linebacker and you send your defensive end to go back into coverage to cover the flats, he's going to make sure there's a running back or a tight end ready to leak out and beat you to your cover zone. So that's pretty much what happened a lot last year. So we got beaten a lot of dinks and dunks last season because he was able to time the passing, the precision passing and so on was well timed. And that's how Plummer was able to move the ball against the Miami Hurricanes, because he understood the aggression that the Canes play with. But the fact that they may have a coverage scheme ready, they were able to beat that coverage. And that's what Braum understood. And that's what he did to the Canes last season. I mean, Louisville's offense is also very good, over 31 points a game, right, as well. Defense, not bad either. The defense only open average 23 points as well. So the fact that Tyler Van Dyke lit them up, that says a lot about, kind of like the way they play TVD and kind of like, how talented our players are. But 10-4 last season, lost to Florida State. That was not the team that played Miami at all. It looked very flat, underprepared against FSU. FSU's defensive tackles actually were the ones that did a lot of havoc, on Louisville's offense, which led to, them making mistakes and so on. So Louisville's a team to be worried about, even though they have 31 transfers. That's not good either. Their transfer class ranked third. Sorry. Their transfer class ranked third this season. They don't do very well in recruiting, but they are very well coached. All right. Ja'Cory Brooks is someone Miami was even looking at as well at wide receiver. Louisville ends up getting him as well. Don Chaney's played against us at practice. Jaleel Skinner might know a little bit about Shannon Dawson's offense as well. It's a little bit of information that they could give the defense. So those are all things that I see about Louisville as far as schematics go. Not a team to sleep at. It's over there. They have a better quarterback, Tyler Show, who, by the way, has some experience with Coach Cristobal. He came in for Justin Herbert when he got hurt, and the coaching staff preferred Anthony Brown over him. So he got benched for Anthony Brown, who was Coach Cristobal's last quarterback in his final season at Oregon. So there might be some I'm going to get you, coach, type of deal when
absolutely.
Miami this season.
Damn, he's that old, huh?
Yep.
It's an old-ass quarterback. Yeah, man, Louisville defensively, you brought up a good point, man. They were number one in the ACC against the run, and they were number one in the nation in red zone defense. A lot of people don't know that. They had their defense was ranked in the 20s, 20s, 30s, in the nation. So, and like you mentioned, we lit them up. We had a shootout against them, man. So, I think it's gonna be it's gonna be tough sledding for them, but I also think their offense may take a step up this year.
I agree.
Because it's year 2 in the system, and they have a better quarterback.
Yeah,
so I think the offense could be better, but I also think the other side of the ball could be worse for them.
Yeah. A lot of their improvements have been on offense. Jaleel Skinner he was a little undersized, but my opinion, one of the things I wanted Miami to do with him is in red zone situations, flank him out, right? He's 6'4", he's tall. That's what I want him to do with him. So I'm sure that Coach Braum will find something to do with him. Don Chaney is a guy that could run between the tackles. He could run. He could run at the corners. He could block. He could pick up blitzes, and he could catch the football. So that's where I think that they're gonna be very good at the offensive side of the ball. Tyler Shaw, I forgot to say his name because it's kind of an awkward way to say his name. Tyler Shaw, I think that's how you pronounce it. He's a dual threat quarterback, and Miami doesn't do very well at times with quarterbacks that could extend plays or run. So it's an improvement from Jack Plummer last season. So you're going to see a very well coached team this year with Louisville. Okay, so that's where I think Miami has to worry about playing on the road against Louisville. But I do think Miami can pull it off. There's much more talent at the quarterback position. It's year 2 under Guidry's system. It's year 2 under Dawson's system as well. There's been upgrades on both sides of the ball. Miami's transfer portal class is a plug-and-play class. Only 15 new transfers compared to Louisville's 31. So we'll see how that acclimates, throughout the season as well. And Louisville didn't recruit very well. Louisville finished, I think, with a 58th best recruiting class, while Miami finished with a top 5, top 7 recruiting class this season. So Miami's a much more balanced team as far as transfers goes and players that already know the scheme goes. So we'll see how that goes. But again, it's in Louisville. It's an individual that proved last year that he's a very good X's and O's guys. It's a better quarterback. It's probably a better receiving core as well. So I expect another shootout. But Miami needs to win this shootout.
Yeah. I agree, man. I agree. Coaches who can coach scare me.
Yeah.
So especially on the offensive side of the ball, I think that's always hard to deal with, especially when you have the players and you can get the best out of the players that you have. Even if you don't have a bunch of 5 stars over there, Coach Braum can coach them up. He just can coach. He can coach his ass off, man. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be another high scoring game over there. The one thing that I do like and that makes me a little bit more comfortable is that it's kind of late mid-season, so we'll have plenty of eyes on them, plenty of tape. We'll get to see what's really going on with those guys. What do you think? Give me a score prediction for that game.
Oh man, I get this. My Canes bad. I'm gonna go 31-24. Miami wins.
We writing this down, man.
31-24. 31-24
at Louisville. Yeah. All right.
I think Miami could put up 30 points on them.
Oh yeah. I think so as well. I think it's gonna be an even higher scoring game than that. I'm looking at about 42-31 Miami.
Okay.
Yeah. 42-31. And of course, it also depends on the weather and the elements of what's going on in Louisville and all that. But we shall see.
Yeah.
West
good thing this year though, we do have a cold weather quarterback, so I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So that's so if it is a little chilly over there, we do have a quarterback that has played a lot in cold weather.
And a running back.
And a running back as well, Damian Martinez. Yes, so that's a good thing.
Oh. All right, West says 41-37 Miami. SP1 says 52-30. Okay. Louisville doesn't have a hard schedule either. Nope. They don't.
No, they don't.
They don't. I think Louis Juan says, I think Louisville's flat out overrated talent-wise. Talent-wise, yeah, we said that. Juan.
Juan.
Is not crazy. But, again, offensively, they have a coach that can maximize that talent and get the most out of that talent. All right, so this weekend, we had a BBQ. We had the annual Miami BBQ for the recruits. Class of 25, 26, 27, 28, everybody there recruiting, man. We had a lot of the commits come through. Luke Nickel was there. Dylan Upshaw was there. Jabari Antoine was there. Who else? Several other guys. Our O-line commits were there. And we had a bunch of hopefuls. So let's start with the main hopeful, right? 5-star receiver Jamie French was in the building. I don't like the pictures that people post because they always look non-interested in the pictures, man. He's like on the phone all the time. He's not paying attention, whatever. But Jamie French, man, it seems like not a lot of people can gauge where he's leaning. He's a young man, right? 16, 17 years old. He's being pulled in all different directions. He's seen Texas. He's seen LSU. And everything is bigger, right? Texas facilities are probably crazy.
Mhm.
You know, they can show you a lot. LSU can show you a lot. But he was at the crib this weekend. He's been at the crib multiple times. Coach KB is, by all accounts, one of the best people, let alone receivers coaches, but the best people in the game. You know, Coach Cristobal, I'm sure he's taking that recruitment personally,
Mhm.
and he's talking to Jamie French. Where do you think that recruitment is headed? That recruitment is headed as we speak today.
He's been interesting because he's been either very honest or very quiet. And when recruiting really started, when people started paying attention more to the 2025 class, he always had Miami like as in third place. I believe number one was Texas. Number two, I think, was LSU, if I'm not mistaken, and number three was Miami. That's changed. Now all of a sudden he's not really giving you a gauge of where he's going. From what I've heard, Texas is not so much in the picture anymore, or there are. I'm not 100% sure exactly what's going on. From what I heard, his visit was very good. The good thing about Coach Kevin Beard is that he knows how to relate to wide receivers. He knows how to talk to wide receivers as well. Plus, he's won championships as well as a wide receiver, as an NCAA wide receiver. So he's able to build those connections. And listen, man, and Miami staff is very relentless as far as texting, as far as calling, as far as, hey, you want to come for a visit? Hey, we have so-and-so coming to see the team. You want to come over and say unofficial? They're very good at that. Mark Fletcher was a testament to that last season when he was interviewed while being an Ohio State commit. He was like, Miami still on me. And lo and behold, he became a Cane. So those are things that I don't know. Again, it's very hard. Texas there's a lot of, I'm not saying he's in it for that, but there's a lot of NIL money in Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not saying he's in it for that. Not everybody's in it for just for NIL because they also want to be developed. But Sarkisian's a hell of a coach. Yep. He's going to have a really good quarterback as well, and that's an offense in the SEC that puts up points. So you can't really blame him, for looking at a school like Texas, especially since he was an Alabama commit originally. But I think Miami is still in very good shape. He not only has the coaching staff, he also has players that are like, hey, listen, Luke Nichols been the ambassador. You'll come with me. We'll play very well. So, I heard Miami's a very good. Make a long story short, I heard Miami's in very good shape. I heard he said good things about Miami. I know they haven't lit up on him. I know they want him badly. He reminds me of Andre Johnson coming out of high school physically. Not that he looks like Andre Johnson now. I remember last time I was on You Heard, some guys like, he's not Andre Johnson. I'm like, well, in high school, physically and talent wise, he was Andre Johnson, when he graduated class of 99. So those are all things that look at Jimmy French. So if Jimmy French does put the U hat on at the end of August, I wouldn't be surprised. But if he does it, I wouldn't be surprised either. So that's where I'm at with his recruitment. I think Miami's in good shape. From what I've heard, everything's gone well. He likes Kevin Beard, established a good relationship with Kevin Beard. Hopefully it's a Corey Raymond type of relationship where he's got to come here. The same thing that Pickett did over in LSU, where Corey Raymond was the one that got him over the finish line. Hopefully Beard gets him over the finish line and he puts on that U hat. Listen, Miami will love him. He's a Miami style of player, and I think he's a game changer as well.
Yeah, man. That Texas lore and that SEC lore is not a game, man. Listen, the crowds, the games, they look different. You can't. All Miami fans here, right? We all understand what it is. Like, that's just what it is. And the thing about the University of Texas is that it's in Austin, Texas. It's not one of these podunk college towns. It's not Tallahassee. It's not Gainesville. You know what I mean? It's Austin, Texas is a city, like a budding city. So it's not huge, but it's not small. So you have the best of both worlds at Texas, and you're in the SEC, and you have an offense that's proven to be exciting, and you have young quarterbacks. So next year, Quinn Ewers will be gone, but you have the
Arch
Manning.
Manning. Yep.
He's there, chilling. So it's a lot. It's a lot that he can be drawn to at Texas. But home, you got your guys from Mander. You have Derek Plaz,
Yeah.
and you
That's
have
true.
Drake Stubbs here. So you got some teammates here. You have the opportunity to play in front of your family and friends, so it's definitely a draw. And again, we have to win. These guys, these players, they want to see wins. They want to see an exciting offense. So, if we win, I think Jamie French comes in to look good. I think a lot of people come if we continue to look good.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So there was a D tackle that hasn't been talked about much. I'm not even going to talk about Myron Charles. He's an FSU commit. He was the surprise visitor that was on campus. But Dante Simpson from Chaminade. He's kind of an under the radar young man, but he plays at Chaminade. He plays at one of the best programs in Florida, in the country. And he's an intriguing prospect. I don't know if you've seen his film at all.
No, I have not.
But at Chaminade, he has the size athletic combination that you're looking for. I think he's currently committed to Maryland. But again, he plays for Chaminade, so he's a little under the radar. But that's a young man that I think if Miami gives him the nod, he'll be a Cane like instantly, in my opinion. Is there anybody who came in that you're intrigued about that was at the barbecue?
Yeah, well, Byron Lewis was a shocker because I've heard that the talks between he and Miami have gone a bit stale, and he's become more of a Florida State lean. So I think that him coming to the barbecue is a good sign that he still wants to at least give the University of Miami a chance to pitch him as well. I do think that him committing to the Canes would be great because we already have Gerard Pringle as well. Yep. So you'll have that thunder and lightning combination that Mario's done every season. So he's a guy that I'm intrigued with. A lot of the guys that came in though, they're already committed. We had Jabari Antoine, you had Scroggins here as well. So a lot of the guys that came in are already committed. So that was just a good fun barbecue. But I think from the guys that we talked about, of course, French is the big dog that we all want, especially since Fernell Brown committed to Florida and Dallas forgot his last name.
Dallas
Wilson. Dallas Wilson, yes, decided to lock himself down and stay at Oregon. So French is the guy that we really want. But Byron Lewis deciding to come to the barbecue and let the University of Miami pitch him again means that talks have restarted, and that once Miami starts those talks again, they don't let off. So that's one of the ones I'm really intrigued about as well.
Yeah. So the two guys that I'm very excited that came through, and I want to finish the class with these two guys are Ben Hanks and Bryce Fitzgerald.
Yes.
I really like Bryce Fitzgerald.
Why?
As an all-around athlete, right? I think he can play corner. I think he can play safety. I think he could play nickel. I think he can, you can put him, his position versatility is crazy. Ben Hanks, I think he's a good corner. He's technically sound. He is one of the best corners in the nation, in my opinion. Them showing up to me was big. And I hope, and I know where, they, again, I think Ben Hanks is a Florida legacy.
Yeah, he is.
And I think last I heard Bryce was leaning Florida, but again, it doesn't matter until December.
Yeah.
Me, at all. So getting them back on campus as many times. And again, man, if we go to Florida and we smack them up, it's going to be a lot of leans leaning the other way. The lean is going to switch a little bit because the optics matter in recruiting. I don't care what anybody says, the optics matter. So if we handle our business there, then everything will play itself out.
Yeah. If I could piggyback a bit on Bryce, I was very shocked that he doesn't get talked about much. It's been the Ben Hanks, DJ Pickett show. Obviously, of course, it's a very heavy recruiting class for defensive backs. But Bryce has 10 interceptions and had 2 pick sixes, for this season over for Columbus as well. So he's a great athlete as well. I heard, again, we never know what these kids are thinking. I heard it's a Miami LSU battle, believe it or not. That Florida's in it, but it's a Miami LSU battle, and that came from a family friend that told me. And another family friend commented. I covered him last week, and one of his friends or family friends said that Miami is in the mix. All right, as well. So he does like Miami, and don't be surprised again if he also puts on that hat, all right, as well. But I agree with you. I think beating Florida and having a good season will keep this class intact, right, as well. So again, like you said, optics matter, and if Miami shows improvement, if on both sides of the ball, if it translates to wins, it's going to be much easier to get top 5 classes every year.
Absolutely, and I look forward to it, man. So again, man, we appreciate everybody on. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe. We appreciate you guys joining. Scan for merch. It's much easier. Scan the barcode and it'll take you right to the page. Or, you can go here. You can go to youheardpod.com. We sold 3 shirts yesterday. So, they're starting to recognize. They're starting to recognize. Yeah, man. Willie, when are you gonna be on this? Are you gonna be on this week at all?
Yes, I'm gonna be very busy since it's the week leading up to Canes Fest, which is this Sunday, August 4th at the Rock. I'll be having, whom you know very well, I'll be having Chalupa Batman. All right, I'll be having Corey Carmona on tomorrow night at 10 p.m. We're going live. CB and I are going live on 305 Sports now as well. Wednesday mid-morning around 12 around 12 noon, I'll be having Alex Dono on as well from Locked On Canes. And Thursday night at 8 p.m., 305 Live will hit it again as I'll have Rasta from the Miami Flow Network for the Sebastian Lane Show. So I'll be pretty busy with a lot of Canes content this upcoming week. So please, guys, like, subscribe, share my videos over at 305 Sports now, right? Every little bit counts. Thank you, guys. And thank you for having me on, Joe. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm gonna get on and heckle Rasta, man. That's my guy right there, man.
It's a good dude.
That's my dude right there. Yep, we'll be back Sunday. Wednesday evening. I think we're about to make a little bit of an announcement in regards to For the Culture.
Okay.
So be on the lookout for that, guys. But we'll be on. You heard to be on Wednesday night. And listen, camp is about to start, man. Let's get ready. I can't wait to see you guys at tailgates, man, and away games. Are you going to any away games, Will?
Not away games, man. I can't do away games, but I'll definitely do a couple home games this year for sure.
Okay. Yeah. I'll definitely. And listen, we have the party for the watch party for the Florida game in Orlando. Lex from the Miami Flow team, man, he's gonna have a watch party. I think there's a few spots left. But if you know Lex, hit him up. And listen, he got the food, he got the DJ, he got everything set up. He even has hotel rooms blocked off for everybody, man. So yeah, it's a huge thing. And like I said, I can't wait to get down there. Thank you, Will. Appreciate it. And listen, man, it is always all about that you. Yeah.